Let's keep it completely real. There is a massive difference between a dog who doesn't know how to sit on command and a dog who looks at a passing stranger, freezes up, and instantly transforms into an explosive, snapping, snarling ball of raw aggression. Standard obedience won't save you here. You can scream "sit" until your vocal cords bleed. But when an animal is operating in deep, primitive survival mode, their logical brain completely unplugs. Most handlers feel utterly trapped in a cycle of isolation, avoiding walks and living in constant anxiety inside their own homes. Welcome back to Canine Dog Talk, the exact digital space where we strip away the superficial tricks and look directly at core neurological adaptation, so you can rewire your pet's brain from the inside out.
Today, we are moving way past simple obedience and stepping into the elite world of behavior modification. Most pet parents completely mistake this process. They think they can punish out fear or simply bribe an aggressive animal with a handful of chicken strips. That is absolute cap. When you force a terrified dog into a stressful situation, you aren't training them. You are flooding their nervous system, crushing their trust, and driving their reactivity subterranean until it inevitably explodes later. We are going to shatter that broken approach right now. We are breaking down the exact behavioral science used by master behaviorists to alter internal emotional baselines, rewrite instinctual fear pathways, and establish true, relaxed environmental neutrality. By the time this blueprint concludes, you will possess the master-level skills required to read microscopic canine somatic signals, systematically manipulate threshold zones, and implement clinical counter-conditioning protocols. Whether you are dealing with resource guarding, reactive lunging, or severe environmental phobias, this guide is your operational roadmap. If you are ready to stop managing chaos and start executing real psychological evolution, check your treat pouches, dial in your focus, and let's decode behavioral modification. To master true behavior modification, you must understand the distinction between teaching an operative skill and changing a conditioned emotional response. Standard training tells a dog what physical posture to assume. Behavior modification, on the other hand, targets the underlying neurological state driving the outward expression. If your dog lunges at another canine, the lunging is simply the physical symptom. The true issue is the internal cocktail of fear, insecurity, or hyperarousal flooding their limbic system. When an animal perceives an environmental trigger, their amygdala triggers an immediate fight or flight response, releasing a massive wave of adrenaline and cortisol. In this physiological state, traditional learning is completely impossible. Your primary objective as a handler isn't to force compliance. It is to shift their emotional baseline from terror to absolute safety. Let's look at the cornerstone architecture of this process, the threshold model. The threshold is the invisible psychological boundary line where your dog transitions from an analytical, calm state into a reactive, emotional panic. Imagine a dial from 1 to 10. At levels 1 through 3, your pup acknowledges the trigger but remains relaxed. At level 4, their body tenses, their ears lock forward, and they stop taking food rewards. This is the sub-threshold sweet spot. The absolute second they hit level 7, they cross the critical threshold line, blow their lid, and start barking frantically. 90% of handlers make the catastrophic mistake of trying to train their dog at level 7 or 8. Once the amygdala hijacks the brain, cognitive processing shuts down completely. You must operate strictly within the subthreshold zone, where the brain is still plastic and receptive to new associations. Strategy number 1 for rewriting these pathways is systematic desensitization, paired with classical counter-conditioning. Desensitization means exposing your dog to the target stressor at such a low intensity or extreme distance that their nervous system doesn't register a threat. Counter-conditioning means changing their internal emotional valuation of that trigger. Let's say your dog is intensely reactive to delivery trucks. Find the precise distance where they can see the vehicle moving without freezing up, perhaps 200 yards away. The exact moment the truck appears in their visual field, You begin rapid-firing an ultra-premium, high-value currency, like fresh roasted liver or stinky goat cheese. The moment the truck disappears, the food flow stops completely. You are creating a clinical Pavlovian link. The terrifying object actually causes premium food to materialize out of thin air. Next, let's address the systemic trap of resource guarding, known scientifically as possessive aggression. This occurs when a dog perceives a threat to their survival assets, like a bone, a toy, or even a specific spot on the couch. Their primitive software tells them that if they lose that asset, their survival is compromised. If you approach them, use a dominant posture, and forcefully rip the item out of their mouth to show them who is boss, you literally confirm their absolute worst nightmare. You prove to them that humans are unpredictable thieves, causing them to guard even harder during the next interaction, escalating from subtle lip curls to full bites. To modify this, you must implement the trade-up protocol, showing them that your approach always signals an upgrade, never a loss. Approach their perimeter with an item of vastly superior value, toss it past them, and walk away without taking their original asset, systematically dismantling their defensive paranoia. Let's talk about breed-specific neurological wiring, because genetics heavily dictate how behavior modification unfolds. A guardian breed like a Rottweiler or a Cane Corso possesses deep-seated territorial instincts and a natural suspicion of outsiders. When modifying their protective behaviors, your focus must center on establishing absolute handler authority regarding environmental safety. They need to understand that assessing threats is your exclusive operational job, not theirs. Conversely, a highly sensitive herding breed like a Shetland sheepdog or an Australian shepherd might display reactive behaviors driven by sensory overload and motion sensitivity. For these kinetic working dogs, behavior modification must incorporate structured decompression routines, sniff walks on long lines, and cognitive problem-solving tasks that allow their overstimulated nervous systems to properly discharge accumulated stress hormones. Another critical tool in your behavioral arsenal is BAT, or Behavior Adjustment Training. This protocol leverages functional rewards rather than just food treats. In behavior modification, the ultimate goal for a fearful, reactive dog is almost always distance and safety from the trigger. With BAT, we utilize that desire as the primary reinforcement mechanism. Walk your dog sub-threshold toward a stressor. The exact microsecond they offer a positive, self-regulating coping mechanism, like a casual ground sniff, an intentional look away, or a relaxed body shake, you instantly mark it, turn around, and walk away from the trigger. You are teaching their analytical brain a monumental lesson. You do not need to explode, lunge, or fight to make the scary object leave. Your calm, peaceful communication signals are the exact keys that buy you immediate safety. As your dog builds profound fluency at long distances, you must carefully generalize their neutrality across varying contexts. An animal does not automatically comprehend that a behavioral rule established in a quiet cul-de-sac applies to a bustling city park. Systematically shift the training environments while strictly preserving your sub-threshold protocols. Monitor their somatic feedback constantly. Dilated pupils, a rigid tail carriage, shallow breathing, or lip licking are clear structural indicators that their nervous system is hitting an invisible wall. Never rush the process. True behavioral evolution requires time, consistency, and absolute handler patience. You are physically reshaping neural pathways, replacing a deeply rooted trauma response with a confident, bulletproof state of psychological neutrality. If this clinical behavioral breakdown completely transformed how you view your dog's deep-seated reactivity and gave you real tactical hope, smash that like button right now and subscribe to Canine Dog Talk to join our pack of elite handlers. Drop a comment down below telling me exactly what specific trigger sets your pup off. Is it other dogs, strangers, or fast-moving vehicles? We release these deep dive, science-backed canine psychology blueprints every single week, explicitly engineered to help you eliminate behavioral chaos and build an unbreakable bond of trust with your pet. Make sure to ring that notification bell so you never miss a training drop. Keep protecting your dog's threshold. Remain incredibly consistent, and I will catch you in the very next video.